Most people use ChatGPT like a new intern, but I use it to drive five strategies. It's like having five of the world's smartest minds work 24/7 for only $20 a month to help me move faster, decide better, and focus on what truly matters. But I only figured out this after spending years in tech and AI as a CEO, board members, where I watched elite teams use AI in ways most people never see. So today I'm sharing those five strategies to use ChatGPT so well that it looks illegal. The first strategy is called the clone. When I was a kid, my grandfather had a last stage Alzheimer. Every few minutes, he would look at me, my grandmother, woman he had been married for 60 years, and he would ask, "Who are you?" And then he would go ahead and tell me a story, forgetting that he just told me the exact same story 5 minutes ago. His brain didn't have memory of his last 5 minutes. ChatGPT suffers from something very similar. Every time you open up a new chat session, you are starting from zero context. But there is a way to give a ChatGPT an almost telepathic ability. It can keep the memory and context for you alive without you explaining every single time. For that, I apply three-step frameworks called ESP. E is extract. Open the voice mode in ChatGPT and say, "Listen, you are my chief of staff. Interview me for 20-30 minutes, my background, my tone, my strategy, and my blind spot." Then take a while, be messy. Don't self-edit. This step is about a raw capture only. S is synthesize. Now this is where you turn the raw data into an operating system. So upload the transcript of whatever you set to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to organize it into a summary on who you are and how you think. Now go to settings, custom instructions, and paste your summary. By the way, this is also the place where you tell ChatGPT exactly how you want it to behave. Always format data as tables, don't send me walls of text. But now ChatGPT knows who you are, how you want your responses shaped, and what to avoid by default. And here's where it gets really wild. P is for projects. Think of a project as a space where you store your context. It lives with your instructions, memories, files, repeated tasks. For instance, for your work project, upload your resume, PDFs, and data that is relevant. You can even customize the instructions inside each project settings. Just remember, do not mix different domains. So for example, I have a consulting project, and then I have a YouTube project, and then I have my health projects separate. This turns your AI from a temporary ChatGPT into a persistent brain. But that's only the first battle. You still need an army to do heavy lifting, and that is our next strategy. The second strategy is called the swarm. There is a great story in Indian mythology about a demon who was impossible to defeat with a single weapon. So the great goddess manifested 8 arms wielding 8 different weapons at once. She was known as Ashtabhuja Dura. 8 arms, 8 weapons, 8 battles fought in parallel. And most of us are fighting our own modern demons with just over 2 hands. Our brain can only handle one task at a time. You need to hire 3 specific advanced capabilities of ChatGPT. Number 1, your hands. Stop doing tasks one by one. Use the agent mode. Dispatch the swarm. Instead of searching for a single lead, give ChatGPT a command. 550 leads in the SaaS space, verify their emails, rank them by revenue. That's it. Let it run. And you go and get a coffee. But there is one catch. ChatGPT is still trapped inside a text box. It can find leads, but it cannot actually put them into a CRM or build a process around them. So number two, your eyes. Stop describing your problem. ChatGPT is very visual. You can take a photo of a whiteboard, sketch a broken car part or complex analytics dashboard. Just upload it and then say, analyze this picture, tell me what's wrong with it, and tell me one move that I can make to fix it. You're using ChatGPT as your eyes, not just your keyboard. And great thing is ChatGPT can see things human eyes cannot. And finally, number three, your research assistant. You can do deep research that was once the domain of an analyst who you would pay $5,000 for. Recently, I was in a meeting with the chief technology officer of a large firm, and he said something very interesting. He said, I had to evaluate 6 presentations delivered by a very large IT consulting firm on the technology infrastructure of a massive data center. And there were 300 pages of dense information. But what did he do? He uploaded them all in ChatGPT, hired a swarm of AI analysts. One afternoon, that's all it took. Now that would have taken weeks before. That's the world we are heading into. In the age of AI, you won't be billing for your time. You will only bill for your taste. So this swarms gives you an army of powerful interns. But your next strategy is not about hiring AI to take orders. It is there to challenge you. Your third strategy then is devil's advocate. Around 1500th century, the Catholic Church was the most powerful organization on earth. But it was also under a lot of attack. By 1587, the Pope had a massive problem. The church was canonizing saints left and right. So the people did something pretty radical. He created an office called Advocatus Diaboli, the devil's advocate. The person's entire job was to argue against the canonizations of an saint, to find the dirt, to poke holes, to be ruthless. The church realized this 400 years ago. When the stakes are high, good decisions are rarely made through agreements. They come from conflict. Now, why is this necessary? Well, it is called IKEA effect. We fall in love with anything we build ourselves. Research shows that the smart people are great at spotting flaws in other people's thinking, physically incapable of seeing them in their own. So the key insight, most people use ChatGPT for validation, but you should use it for violation. But here's the problem. ChatGPT is programmed to keep you happy. So you have to force it to behave differently. So here are 3 tricks to break the AI's people player programming. First, use magic triggers. Force adversarial thinking. Instead of saying, what do you think? Be specific. Prompt it and say, audit this using first principle or act as my competitor. You may not get what you want, but you will get what you need. Second, shadow boxing. Don't step into the ring unprepared. Let's say if you are going out to raise money for your venture, tell AI, simulate a debate between a ruthless, skeptical VC and visionary product designer. Let the VC push back on the idea. I want to see that fight and learn from it. This way, you let AI expose the weak point so you don't fumble on them in the real world environment. Third, the blind spot check. Feed it your strategy and ask one question. Based on what you know about me, what are the gaps in my reasoning? When we get successful, we develop 2 bad habits. We trap ourselves in this bubble of our ego, and we surround ourselves with people who just say yes. That's why this strategy is so critical to save you from yourself. But knowing where you are wrong or why you are wrong is not enough. You still have to learn fast about what is right. That's where our next strategy comes in, the neural link. And it breaks the rule most of us grow up believing that mastery takes 10,000 hours. There is a famous story about physicist Max Planck after he won the Nobel Prize. He went on to giving this speech about quantum mechanics every night. Now his chauffeur sat in the front row every time and literally memorized every word. One night, the chauffeur said, "Professor, I'm getting bored just listening to you. Let's switch. I will give the lecture on stage and you sit in the audience wearing my cap." Planck, of course, agreed. Same word, same structure, same cadence. The speech was flawless. But at the end, physicist in the audience stood up and asked a deep technical question. But the chauffeur didn't panic at all. He smiled and said, "I'm surprised to hear such a simple question in a city as advanced as Munich. To prove how simple it is, I'm going to let my chauffeur answer it." Of course, that was Max Planck. But here's the point. Most people use ChatGPT like that chauffeur. They copy-paste smart-sounding phrases and answers to sound intelligent. They have fluency without foundation. So here are 3 ways to get that Neuralink. True understanding without becoming that chauffeur. The first, jargon translator. For instance, tell it explain the concept of API using the restaurant metaphors only. Suddenly, the menu becomes the documentation. The kitchen is the server and the waiter is the API. The messenger that takes your order, deliver it in the kitchen, brings back the results. You are not learning from scratch. You are translating that jargon into your jargon. Second, the progressive professor Richard Feynman said that if you cannot explain it simply, you do not understand it. So don't ask ChatGPT to explain quantum computing, but instead say, explain quantum computing to me in 3 different ways. One, like I'm a 5-year-old and give me the simplest explanation. Number 2, like I'm a 15-year-old, explain it with logic and examples. And number 3, like I'm a college student, share the underlying theories. When you do this in that particular order, you will feel any concept click into place in your brain instantly. And third, degree download. You teach it, you keep it. So use AI to be your target audience or appear prompted to say something like, "I want to build a cool AI commerce product. I need to learn foundation of how machine learning works. Skip the theory, only give me actionable skills. No fluff, and then test me so I can teach it back to you." Just replace a bootcamp worth 50,000 with a simple PDF. So here you are. You have built a high-performance ChatGPT machine, but such machines tends to overheat. The 5th strategy is called the executive coach, and without it, none of the other strategies would work. 2000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, but he was also the loneliest. He had no one to talk to. So he hired a coach. That coach was blank scroll. Every night in his tent, he wrote down his anxieties, his fears, his advice to himself. He titled that manuscript to himself. If you are a successful executive or on the path of being one, you need executive coach. I had 2. And they both changed my trajectory dramatically. But sometimes executive coaches and the mentors are not going to be available to you at midnight, when you need them the most, when you can't sleep because of a decision you have to make. And that's when you can use ChatGPT to show you a mirror with the 0 emotions baggage. You can even turn the voice mode. That's what I do normally. Here are the 3 tricks to turn the ChatGPT into your temporary executive coach. First, the vomit mirror. When you are overwhelmed, your brain is going to be a tangled mess. It happens to me. Open the voice mode and say, "I'm going to rant for 5 minutes about everything stressing me out." Don't interrupt, just listen. When I'm done, organize my chaos into 3 lists. Problem I can solve today. Problem I need to delegate. noise I need to ignore. That's it. And then go ahead. Just rant as long as you want. Second, the stoic mirror. It is possible that you may have just lost a deal, or you got fired, or something terrible happened. You can say to ChatGPT at that point, I just took a massive loss. I feel like a failure. Reframe the situation for me using the story principles and tell me why this is actually an opportunity. Have that conversation until you are convinced. Push back. Let it push back to you, even if you are not convinced. It will slow down the emotional spiral that you are on instantly. And the third and the final mirror, the decision mirror. Before you make a massive decision like quitting a job or starting a new company, talk it out. I'm about to do X. Here's my logic. Let's have a conversation. You don't have to put faith in ChatGPT advice. In fact, please don't. But talking it out clears your own head about your own judgment. We covered 5 strategies and 15 ways to optimize your relationship with ChatGPT. But here's the truth. All of these skills are essentially alpha. In finance, when traders find an edge, they make a fortune and it is called alpha. But eventually everyone figure it out. What's rare today becomes required tomorrow. That's how life works. And what happens when it all becomes a commodity? How will you maintain your edge then? I will share my personal story that changed my idea about my edge. A week before I took my CEO job, my executive coach pulled me aside and he said, remember, your title is CEO, Chief Executive Officer. But that E does not just stand for executive. It also stands for emotions. You are the Chief Emotions Officer now as well. You have to manage the emotions of your own people. That conversation stayed with me for years because a long time we have forgotten that message. We spent the entire industrial age trying to turn ourselves into machines. We measured our worth by our output and our productivity. If we didn't produce or we didn't consume, we didn't matter to the market. So what did we do? We tried to out-robot the robots, but now the actual machines have arrived to take their jobs. And that's not a threat. That's actually a permission. Permission to us to stop pretending like we are machines. Permissions to feel, to show compassion, to connect those mysteries, to connect to others, connect to this mystery called life. In a way, I feel that AI and machines are coming to free us from labor so we can return to our essentials work. AI's ultimate gift might very well be, then it will make us more human. So if you like this video, do subscribe and share so others can take the benefit. Thank you so much and I love you.